Today, we're going to talk about coping with COVID-19 anxiety. We're going to start with talking about the mental health issues that are associated with COVID-19 and what to do when you feel overwhelmed. We're all hearing scary news every day, all the time about this pandemic. Lots of people are really anxious, and we hear people doing crazy things like panic buying and hoarding and sanitizing everything. People ask me, isn't being worried about a pandemic normal? Isn't it a reaction to scary news? But how much anxiety is too much? So indeed, there is lots to worry about. Every minute of every day for the last couple of months, we've been hearing about the harsh reality of COVID-19. There's quarantines, social bans, social distancing, and the closing of most services. People are worried about the future, their jobs, their financial security, their own health, their elderly parents' health and mortality, and their kids' education being interrupted. They're worried about being able to get what they need just day by day, things like toilet paper and cleaning supplies and food. I've heard from my friends and my clients who are really anxious and they don't know what to do. They're unsure whether to go out and stock up or whether to stay inside and have no contact with anyone. And people who have pre-existing anxiety disorders, this amount of negative information is really the perfect storm of things to worry excessively about. When people experience panicky feelings and they find themselves behaving differently than normal, they start to become concerned about whether they have a mental health disorder. So when is anxiety more than just worry? Well, as I said, there are many reasons to worry. There's facts and evidence that this pandemic is unprecedented. What is also difficult is more recently the amount of information and misinformation that we're getting and how fast we get it. Anxiety is a normal response to uncertainty. That's basically what it is. And we don't know what's going to happen with COVID-19. We can't make any plans. Nobody can predict how long these restrictions are going to go on, or how many people will get sick and die, or what the long-term economic impact is. Let me say, though, that there are advantages to worrying. Sounds a little weird, but basically, worry helps us to anticipate bad things that happen. The what-ifing, what if this, what if this, in order to help us be more prepared to do what we need to do to survive. So identifying these issues by doing this what-ifing, then it allows us to problem solve. And we can create an action plan to reduce risk or improve outcomes. But how much worry is too much? If people are too worried about it, has it become a mental health issue? A mental health disorder is basically when there's ongoing signs and distress a lot of the time and quite severely, to the point that some of your roles within your life are interfered with. Roles as an employee, as a spouse, as a parent, as a member of society or a social person. If more than one of those roles are hard for you to carry out, then we're looking at your life being disrupted to a significant point. Reacting to stressful situations like a pandemic with distress and anxiety is absolutely natural and reasonable. A word on anxiety disorders then. I'm going to talk about the couple of main ones that we're discussing when we talk about mental health disorders. Generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD, is excessive worry about a number of everyday things, but it has an exaggeration of the actual risk, and it is worry most of the hours of the day and for at least 6 months. Panic disorder, when people talk about having panic attacks, a panic attack is a sudden feeling of fear, sudden intense fear that lasts for a short period of time. And it involves things like a racing heart, shakiness, sweating, tense muscles, upset stomach, those kind of things. Now, panic attacks are a normal reaction to a stressful situation, or they can also be part of another anxiety disorder. How about OCD? People are wondering, How much hand washing is too much? How much sanitizing? Obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, has both obsessions and compulsions. So obsessions are unwanted or intrusive, troubling thoughts or images that cause anxiety, and people feel they cannot control them. Compulsions are the repetitious rituals that you hear about, like excessive hand washing, checking that the door is locked, that the stove is off. But it's excessive. It could be 12, 15, 20 times of checking, or washing your hands for a very long period of time. People do the compulsions in order to reduce the anxiety that comes with the obsessive thoughts. So with lots to worry about and constant information about bad things to look for, can people actually make themselves sick with worry? This is where we ask the question, isn't it all in your head? Well, worries do start in our head, with our perceptions and thoughts. However, there are ways that we can make things quite a bit worse, particularly by dwelling on the worst case scenario.